Om Harihi Om Tatsat Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Shuklambaradharam Vishnam Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatika Kritim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham karishyami siddhirbhavatu me sada yatpadambhoruhadhyana vidhvasta sheshakalmashah vastutamupayaatoham yamuneyam namamitam yo nityamachyutapadambujayugmarukma vyamohatastaditarani trinayamene asmadguror bhagavatosya दयैकसिन्धोः रामानुजस्य चरणौ शरणं प्रपद्ये. Offering my pranamams to all the Bhagavatas assembled here, we'll start the next session. In the last session, what we saw was the Geetaartha Sangraha shloka number 5 we saw. That is the summary of chapter number 1 of Bhagavad Gita, which is the Arjuna Vishada Yoga chapter, where we saw Asthana Sneha Karunya Dharma Dharma Dhiyakulam Partham Prapanna Muddishya Shastravasaranam Kritam. That's what we saw. So next we go to second chapter. So this is a summary shloka of second chapter. Second chapter is Sankhya Yoga. That is the title given. And there are 72 shlokas in this particular chapter. So we look at the Geetaartha Sangraha shloka number 6, which is a summary of chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga. Nityatma Sanga Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yoga Dhihi. Nityatma Sanga Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yoga Dhihi. One more time. Nityatma Sanga Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yoga Dhihi. Dvitiye Sthitadhi Laksha Prokta Tanmoha Shantaye. Dvitiye Sthitadhi Laksha Prokta Tanmoha Shantaye. So one more time. Dvitiye Sthitadhi Laksha Prokta Tanmoha Shantaye. So Nityatma Sanga Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yoga Dhihi Dvitiye Sthitadhi Laksha Prokta Tanmoha Shantaye. What is the meaning of this shloka? We will see. I have written the shloka on top so that you can see the full shloka here, but we will see the meanings of the individual phrases or words. Nityatma Gochara Sankhya Dhihi. Nityatma Gochara Sankhya Dhi. There are two words here, Sankhya Dhi and Yoga Dhi. So that is how they split the words. The word Dhi or Buddhi comes common to Sankhya and Yoga. So what is Nityatma Gochara Sankhya Dhi? It is about the eternal Jivatman as realized through Sankhya Buddhi. Asanga Karmeha Gochara Yoga Dhi. About the doing of karma without attachment to fruits. Actually, there are three characteristics of Karma Yoga, which we will see a little later. One is attachment to fruits not being there, as done with Karma Yoga Buddhi. Sankhya Yoga Buddhi and Karma Yoga Buddhi are the two things told in the first two lines here. Sthitadhi Laksha. In the second chapter, it's also told about the person who has attained the state of a Sthita Prajna, steadfast in poise and wisdom, stable in mind, and established in the state of Samadhi. Sthitadhihi is what is told. Samadhisthasya Keshava is what Arjuna asks. So that also we'll see a little later. Dvitiye Prokta is instructed in chapter 2. Dvitiye Sthitadhi Prokta. Tanmoha Shantaye. Tat Moha Shantaye. for the eradication of removal of Arjuna's confusion or bewilderment. Nityatma asanga karmeha gochara sankhya yogadhihi dvitiye stitadhi laksha prokta tanmoha shantaye. What is the overall meaning? Topics such as eternal Jivatman as realized through Sankhya Buddhi about the doing of karma, that is karma in the karma yoga manner, without attachment to fruits as done with karma yoga buddhi, about one having the state of a sthita prajna, steadfast in poise and wisdom, stable in mind and established in samadhi. These are instructed in chapter 2 for the removal of Arjuna's confusion or bewilderment. So, tanmoha shantaye. So, there are three major things. One is Sankhya Buddhi, that is the Jivatma Lakshana. Then the Karma Yoga Buddhi, which is the performance of karma in this world, how to do that. And third is Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Stitadhihi Laksha. That is what is told in the second chapter. We'll just have a brief. There are if you see some of the books, this is how they can tell the overall outline of the contents of the second chapter. First verse 1 to 10, Arjuna is still continuing his anguish from the first chapter. We saw Arjuna's grief in the first chapter. In the first 10 verses of second chapter also, Arjuna continues to tell his grief. Krishna somehow tries to wake him up in two shlokas, Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupasthitam. In two shlokas, Krishna addresses in the first 10 shlokas. But then Arjuna continues to tell about that he will not wage the war. He says, Bhunjiya Bhogan Rudhira Pradigdhan. I don't want to sit on a throne which is covered with blood of the Kauravas, of the enemies, of Bhishma and Drona. So if I sit on a throne, it will be covered with the blood of Bhishma and Drona. I don't want to sit on such a throne. And the end, what he says, Arjuna says is, Shishyasteham Shadhimam Tvam Prapannam, he says, which means he uses the word Prapanna, which means he has done Prapatti with Paramatman. Only when a person does Prapatti will the Shastra get down to him, is what is told. So Arjuna has done Prapatti, is what we come to know from the this chapter, that is the Shishyasteham Shadhimam Tvam Prapannam, that comes in verses 1 to 10 of the second chapter. Next, verses 11 to 30 are very important shlokas where Atma Vichara is told by Lord Krishna. Ashocyananva Shochastvam, he starts from there, and up to 30th shloka he gives about the Atma Vichara, about the eternality of the Atman and the impermanence of the body. This is what is Sankhya, is what is told. Then in verses 31 to 38, he tells about the duties of a Kshatriya. This, some people say, is Anushangika. Anushangika means it is incidental, is what they say. So among that, he says, Yadrichaya Chopapannam Swargadvaram Apavrutam, and all these shlokas come in verses 31 to 38. Then 39 to 53 is Karma Yoga. This is what is the yoga part in this chapter. Details of Karma Yoga, how to do the karma, are told very clearly by Krishna. Then 54 to 71 are the characteristics of a Sthita Prajna. How a Sthita Prajna will be in this world is what, if we see him, if we see that such a person in our day-to-day life, how will we be able to recognize such a Sthita Prajna? How does he speak? How does he think? How does he work in the world? So these are the things about the Sthita Prajna which we can see in verses 54 to 71 of this chapter. And the 72nd verse, that is the last verse, is the Phalashruti. Evam buddhe yesha brahmi sthitih partha nainam prapya vimohyati sitvasyam antakalepi brahma nirvanam richati, is the Falashruti of this particular chapter. So this is an overall bird's eye view of this particular chapter itself, which we can see. Nityatma Sangha Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yogadhihi Ditiye Sitadihi Laksha Prokta Tanmoha Shantaye. Now, one of the shlokas which he tells in the Atma Vichara part is shown here. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati. The overall meaning is, even as the embodied self attains this body, childhood, youth and old age. The yatha dehe kaumaram is childhood, yavvanam is youth and jara is old age. So also does it attain one more body. The wise man does not get deluded about this. Dhiras tatra na muhyati. He does not undergo moha because of this moving of the soul from one body, the Atman, Jivatman, from one body to another. A wise man does not grieve over this, is what Krishna tells to Arjuna. Now, in this book, Geetaartha Sangraha Kavacha, which I have shown in blue here, which is containing summary of both the Yamunacharya's Geetaartha Sangraha and also Swami Vedanta Deshikar's Geetaartha Sangraha Raksha. He has given a very nice explanation, so which I wanted to present before you, because Geetaartha Sangraha Raksha's thing itself he has taken and shown it here with some more details. So, Nityascha Asau Atma cha Nityatma. So, Nityatma, what is the nirvachana for Nityatma he gives? Nityascha Asau Atma cha Nityatma. That is the eternal Atman, beginningless and endless. Nityascha Asau Atma cha Nityatma. Next, Asangam cha tat karma cha Asanga karma. Here, Asanga karmayaha is what is told here. Asangancha tat karma cha Asanga karma is what he says. Karma which is done with these three aspects in mind. What are these three aspects? Kartritva tyaga, phalatyaga and mamata tyaga. What is kartritva tyaga? Kartritva tyaga is giving up the sense of agency in the action, which is agency means doership. Not saying that I am the doer of this action, but saying I am only an instrument of this action. I am only an instrument of God who is doing this action. So that is like nimitta matram bhava savya sachin is what Krishna says in the 11th chapter. So even all the actions which we perform also, we are only instruments of the Lord in this particular action. Is keeping such a mindset is called kartatva tyaga. Then phalatyaga is giving up the desire for fruits. When I have done this action, fruits will somehow come, but I should not have unnecessary attachment towards fruits. I should not say that fruits have not come, so this action is worthless, and those kind of things we should not say. Fruits may take their own time to come, depending on how the Bhagavan gives this sankalpa. So we have to not get attached to the fruit, not have the fruit in mind while performing the action. That is what Krishna says in the 47th shloka of chapter 2, Karmanya Vadikaraste shloka, which is very, very popular. Third one is Mamata Tyaga, and giving up the feeling that this karma is for my purpose. So it's only to benefit me, that kind of purpose. We should not do the karma, because in chapter 9 he says, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya, I am the bhokta cha prabhure vacha. There is one shloka in the 9th chapter. I am the bhokta, I am the ultimate enjoyer, and I am the master of the karma, is what Krishna says. So we cannot say that karma is for my individual purpose. It's for the purpose of the Lord. So kartatva tyaga, phalatyaga, mamata tyaga are the three elements of karma yoga. So difference between ordinary karma and karma yoga is in karma yoga we have these three: kartatva tyaga, phalatyaga and mamata tyaga. Next, tad ihate means apekshate iti asanga karmeha. Asanga karmeha is told here that ihate apekshate. Whatever expects or needs such a performance of such a karma, performance of that kind of a karma. Nityatma cha asanga karmeha cha nityatma asanga karmeha tayor gochara sankhya yogadhihi. The buddhi for the knowledge of Atman has the prerequisite as performance of such an asanga karma. By performance of asanga karma, then only we can get the buddhi for the knowledge of the Atman. That is the Nityatma Sanga Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yoga Dhihi, the meaning of the first line of this particular shloka. Next one, we'll go. In this Geetaartha Sangraha Kavacha book, he gives one more shloka which is very important, which I like to mention to you. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmat yogaya yujyasva yogav karmasu kaushalam. This is the 50th shloka of this chapter. Those karmas done with desire in fruits are very lowly. Krishna himself says, Durena Hyevaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya. And these cause samsara bandhana. I have heard one person tell that we should, as far as possible in this particular life, which is human life which has come to us, we should, as far as possible, avoid getting one more birth into our account. It is some of the matas say that every human birth which we get, we accumulate 10 more births into our sanchita karma, into our accumulated karma. 10 more new births will get added by all the karmas we do in one human birth. So our objective is to get not even one extra birth into the sanchita karma. Just we have to expend the karma and go, rather than accumulate new karma. So that whatever is done with the desire in fruit is cause for samsara bandhana, or accumulating new karma, so which we want to avoid. Therefore, a person endowed with the buddhi leaves both his punya and papa here itself. Therefore, Arjuna, strive for that yoga. Yoga is excellence in action. Yoga of karmasu kaushalam, leaving the desire in fruits and treating ubhe sukrita dushkrita. He says siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva, and treating winning and losing alike. Do the karma being in karma yoga, is what Krishna says. Now, Atman is different and distinct from everything else, from all other objects. Knowing it as a non-destructible, that it can never grow nor shrink, remembering this again and again, firmly engage in karma yoga, is what is the meaning. By this, all the bad tendencies in the mind will vanish, and you will attain a status of a sthita prajna, is what Krishna says towards the end of the karma yoga part of the second chapter. At that time, you will realize the Atman. So, one question which will come is, before that, we have to know a little bit from Bhagavad Ramanuja's Bhashya itself. Etaduktam bhavati. When Bhagavad Ramanujacharya summarizes some particular paragraph or some particular concept, he will use this phrase, Etaduktam bhavati. He uses it in two senses, two meanings. One is to show in brief whatever was explained in elaboration some time back. Or second, he also uses to explain in elaboration whatever was briefly mentioned earlier. Now he is giving in brief what is mentioned, what was elaborated earlier. He is giving a short summary. Bhagavad Ramanuja is giving by the statement, Etaduktam bhavati. Shastrajanya atmajnana purvaka karma yogaha sthita prajnatakya jnana nishtham. It should be apadayati. It should not apadayati. It should be apadayati. I think spelling mistake. One second. It should be apadayati. It should be a. It is not a. It is a. Jnana nishtha rupa sthita prajnatatu yogakhyam atmavalokanam sadhayati iti. So this is the essence. Etaduktam bhavati. What is that? The karma, that karma yoga which is obtained from Atmajnana, as known from the Shastras, causes a state of Jnana Nishtha. Nishtha means Nitaram Sthiti, means a state when one is firmly established in something, in Jnana, Jnana Nishtha, known as Sthita Prajnata. Sthita Prajnata causes realization of the Atman, also called as Yoga. Yoga is also a state, that state when one treats success and failure alike, and also causes Atma Valokana. Now, at the end of the Karma Yoga part of chapter 2, Arjuna asks a question. Arjuna asked a question. What is that? Chitaprajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava Sitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. That is the shloka, second chapter, 54th shloka. So what is the meaning of this? What is the nature of a person who has steadied his mind in the Atman, Sthita Prajna, a person established in Samadhi Sthiti. How are his actions? Through body, Sthitadi Kim Prabhasheta, what does he talk? Kimasita, where does he sit is the meaning. So what is the bodily action? What is his mental action? Where does his mind sit? And Vrajeta Kim, what kind of words does he speak? So all of us, we have what is called as Trikarana, means Kaya, Vacha, Manasa, whatever we do is what we say by, as doing by Trikarana. Kaya means by body, Vacha means by speech, and Manasa means by thoughts. So it is said that Sajjanas or noble people have the same thing in mind, in their thoughts, in their words and their actions. So thought, word and deed are all aligned for a noble person, for a great man, for a Sajjana person, whereas thought, mind and deed are misaligned. Their thought is not as per, word is not as per thought, and action is not as per word for a wicked fellow. So for a Sthita Prajna, how does he act in thought, word and deed is what is the question Arjuna is asking. At that time, Krishna gives a very detailed answer about a Sthita Prajna, which is explained in very great detail by Bhagavad Ramanuja himself in his Bhashya, and also by Swami Vedanta Deshikar, where he gives the states of a Sthita Prajna. The 4 states of Sthita Prajna are described, and each state is been given a name by Swami Vedanta Deshikar, which is so because second chapter is a large chapter, 72 shlokas. I thought we'll see it in 2 separate sessions, each 20. We cannot see the entire second chapter in one session of 20-25 minutes. Each will take about 25 minutes each itself. That itself is short, because second chapter can be discussed for up to 40 hours totally. So we are seeing it only in 25 minutes or 20-25 minutes, 2 sessions each. So 50 minutes at least we need to spend for second chapter to get an overall view of second chapter. So I will see the Sthita Prajna Lakshana. That means the characteristics of a Sthita Prajna we'll see in the next session. So the shloka will come back again. Nityatma Sanga Karmeha Gochara Sankhya Yogadhi Dvitiye Sthitadhi Laksha Prokta Tanmoha Shantaye. So this is the second chapter summary, of which we have seen only the first line. Now we have to see Sthitadhi Laksha, which is the duties, which is the characteristics of a Sthita Prajna, which we will see in our next session. I will close with the prayer. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu Lokas Samastas Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Sanmangalani Bhavantu Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Now we'll go. If there are any questions, we'll see. If I can answer. Otherwise, we'll stop the recording and go to chanting. If there are any questions, you can please ask me.